right, everybody. All right. Welcome to Carbonite Bounty BS, the show where we, the nerds, are going to talk about Disney Plus's series, The Mandalorian. And I'm Hitch.
I'm DP.
I'm Trenton.
And the more people you add to the broadcast, the harder it is to get that right, for sure. So we're ironing out the kinks today. Well, welcome everybody to the show where we talk about your favorite streaming show with the most adorable character that's been created by a Disney entity since Mickey Mouse. Before we get into brass tacks here, before we jump into the fun season 2 premiere, chapter 9, The Marshal. DP, why don't you help people drop us a line and find us, and then and only then can we talk about the show.
Make sure you guys are traveling to nerdcyclopedia.com, where you see all our links to all our social media outlets on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere we're on social media, we're at Nerdcyclopedia. Make sure that you are also emailing us for that feedback at nerds@nerdcyclopedia.com. You are watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button. All right.
Got it.
And get that hit that notification too. So anytime we're on, you know that we're on. All right.
That's right. All right, everybody. So that's how we do it here. We're gonna talk now. Let's just jump in. So I am super excited that we're back here, season 2. The pandemic has been long. It has been a long pandemic, and I'm just so excited to get into this here. We have a new member of the Nerd Cyclo family today, so let's have a big Nerd Cyclo welcome for Trenton. Trenton, welcome to the Nerd Crew. We're so glad to have you here with us today.
Yeah, buddy.
We're glad to have you talk. Trenton, before we start talking about the episode, we also want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to our enormous audience. We're a powerful group. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? So first of all, why do you like The Mandalorian? What is it about The Mandalorian you like the most?
Well, first off, I really appreciate you guys bringing me on. But the big thing about this Mandalorian with me is it's really a chance for Disney, Lucasfilms, to kind of right the ship. I'm sure you guys and everybody's done our reviews on the last 3 films. It's been up and down. There's been some candid things, but I think this is one thing we've noticed with this Mandalorian series moving forward, that, with Feige coming on board and Favreau and the guys, it seems, as of right now, that they're steadying the ship, and hopefully this is a sign of things to come with Lucasfilms, the Disney merger, and, the future of Star Wars looks semi-bright. I'm looking a little more optimistic about these stories we're hearing about the new Republic at some point, so it definitely looks really surprising and really, really upbeat to me for the future of Star Wars.
It's really awesome. It's really awesome, Trent. And real quick, just because I know we've done a lot of media, so if you want some tape on us, easy to find. What is your number one favorite Star Wars movie? Which of them is your number one?
My favorite Star Wars movie is going to have to be Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Return of the Jedi.
Big fan of the Ewok battle. I like that. And respect the people that are fans of Endor. Awesome. All right. Well, we're glad to have you on board. Welcome so much. Thanks so much for joining us, taking the time out of your day to talk Star Wars with us, the nerds, here on the Nerd Cyclopedia channel. Okay, so I want to discuss, something here as we begin season 2, as we begin chapter 9. We're treated to this, one of these snippets of the Star Wars underworld that we get some really great looks at in Return of the Jedi, for instance, right? Where we go to Jabba's palace. I love these little underworld scenes. Ken, what do you make of the Gamorrean fighting? What do you think about our little cold open for season 2?
A great way to open up season 2 here, and by far I was locked and loaded from the first second. Gamorrean guards and vibro axes, come on. Fighting like WWE style, man, because it just shows that everything has gone into, everything is back to primitive days where, entertainment, we just wanted to see creatures kill each other. It was a great scene. It goes back to the original feel of what Star Wars was.
Yeah.
Actual people in costumes, like no special effects, just 2 two people in costume, fighting, and the crowd. I mean, legit. Like, I even thought by the end of the episode, I felt like if there was no other Star Wars film, this was it. This was all we had. The Mandalorian, I'd be satisfied. I mean, this was really good, well played. I loved it from the very first second to the last.
So I know that you like the grimy too. I love the grimy. Sam, what is it in DP about this open that sets the stage to you for season 2? What is it about that we see here that is so excellent?
Well, I mean, I think the overall vibe of the episode, especially like the opening here, like Ken said, just throws us back to like that old, Star Wars, the New Hope feel. We're getting like a lot of, like you said, underground, just deep, grimy stuff that you're not really seeing a whole bunch of special gloss over effects. You're seeing a lot more practical effects, in the whole sequence and everything. Mm-hmm. And the whole feel of it is just fun. What Trenton was mentioning, and up and down stuff in like the Star Wars movies and everything. We weren't getting we weren't getting as much fun as we are in these Mandalorian episodes. So that's what I really appreciate about the whole, opening sequence. It continues everything that happened in the first season, and it sort of, brings us back to in a square one in a way, but in a more of a, fun way. And it sets the stage on, we're still continuing like the episodic feel. He's traveling from, sector to sector, just doing, on his mission. So I like the fun of the whole thing.
And, for me, one thing that I really like about it is that, we have these movies and this Skywalker saga that's all one certain thing. And it's very much the nobility of the galaxy. And one thing that I love about The Mandalorian so far is it's introduced sort of the real economy of life in the galaxy far, far away. We have crystals and credits and money and exchange and Beskar steel. And we have fuel for some reason in Star Wars. It is a very real universe. And as we discussed on a lot of our shows, when it comes to the soul of Star Wars, right? And I liked, The Last Jedi. I'm not the type of person that poo-poos the newer movies, but the soul of Star Wars to me, you can find it in 1978. And that is the world we inhabit here. If you dropped, we talked about it in the preview. If you dropped this Star Wars into, 1978, and you said, look, this is Star Wars from now on, you would say, perfect, right?
Seamless, yeah.
And you wouldn't even really need the Jedi. You'd be like, Tatooine is awesome.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about Tatooine here, guys. So who has an opinion about Timothy Oliphant showing up in the middle of the Star Wars universe? Does anyone have a strong opinion about Raylan?
Raylan Gibbons. My man from Justified. Oh man.
Who has something to say about the gunslinging in the old West and the Outer Rim? Anybody want to weigh in on old Tim?
Perfect casting.
Yeah.
Literally, the last time I saw this guy was in Go.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Really?
Yeah,
You haven't seen him in anything since then?
Nothing since then. And I thought, well, okay, so there's a young Timothy Oliphant, and here's older, and very well done. I mean, he played, and I don't mind him wearing my armor because it's such a job. And he protected the town and used the armor for what it's for,
right.
Protecting himself and his loved ones. So
that's the way. I mean, say what you want.
This is the way.
That is the way.
Yeah. Mando didn't really appreciate that, too much in the beginning. Though he sort of warmed up to him. Cobb, I like Cobb. I like Cobb a lot.
Yeah. It's a great character.
And you knew as soon as he walked on the scene, you knew that wasn't Boba Fett right there.
Yeah.
I was like, is that Boba Fett's outfit though? Is that his armor? It's like, okay, no, but that was not him. That was not him. Because the way he stands and everything, it's that classic Raylan Gibbons, Timothy Oliphant stance. He's just super skinny. Has his hips to the side a little bit and everything, and but the way he pulls out his gun and stuff, it's just some classic Justified stuff. What you think about there, Trenton?
Yeah, I share some of the same thoughts of that. I mean, the funniest thing is when you're seeing him come in kind of the scene, I was like, is he starved, from the Starlight Pit? I mean, it's been a while, I know, but geez, yeah, the minute I seen it, it threw you for a loop, and just another great callback, what these guys are doing with production. The funny thing is, this is supposed to be a little bit of the sneak peek of the season, and they threw kind of the boba armor and some things like that right off the bat. So once again, it just seems like they're setting us up, and maybe it's just like the last season. We started with the Child early, and he kept on. It seems like a Starmer may be a little more vital to the season than we think, and even in this first episode. So,
one thing I really liked was the whole, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like the kid that ended up getting all stretched out. You know what I mean? That Mike TV. They talk about him in the book. He's like walking away. He looks all gang. That's what I was thinking when he had the armor on the first time. And one thing I really, really liked about this character's introduction is not just that he looked gangly, but that you couldn't get a good read on him right away. And one thing that I appreciated a lot in this episode was how the writing sort of kept you on your toes as far as, is this Marshall on the up and up? The story we're hearing about his escape, the story we're hearing about this conflict, is it legit or not, right? And the whole time I'm thinking, when is he going to be, double crossing Mando? And look, this is a pretty standard Western, honestly, right?
Yeah.
The man with no name rolls into town, and to be quite frank, the ability to keep something like that feeling fresh in a Star Wars universe, so to put a like general Hollywood trope on top of a science fiction trope and have it all come out good, I mean, is a real testament to the skill that's on display here. And to be quite frank, like you were saying, Ken, if this is all we get from Disney Star Wars, is that okay? Because for me, I think I might agree with you. I think this is definitely the cream, certainly, of what we've gotten so far from Disney. Wouldn't you agree, Ken?
Absolutely. I mean, this is like the best combination of story, characters, plot, writing. I mean, everything. It's just all coming together. I mean, everything that they pulled, like Trenton said, like callbacks to the original films. I mean, what did the Marshall? What was he riding?
Right?
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Jeez.
I feel like Tatooine at a certain point is kind of like Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, where you can't go like more than like 100 yards without tripping over some artifact or memorabilia that means that would mean the world anywhere else, but it's just like some brick here. You know what I mean? That's just what Tatooine is like.
Here's a good question. So besides the animated stuff, we haven't really gotten a lot of live action Star Wars, like every couple years, even before they started doing the recent trilogy. It's been years since, we got like a lot of Star Wars. Are you guys liking like the week to week stuff now? Like season, do you like your Star Wars fed to you in like bits and pieces, or do you like it given to you all in one big chunk?
What do you think?
You guys with what I'm saying?
What do you think, Trent? Would you rather get the weekly release like this, where now we have basically like 2 months where there's new Star Wars every single week, or would you rather the old release cycle where it was 3 years and then you'd have a party for a week and everyone would be drunk and then the movie would come out? Like, which would you prefer personally?
Right. Personally, I like these series, and to be honest, I think this is the future, even with the current climate of the movie industry. I mean, if you think about it, it's been, it took 2.5 years to make these each episode with breaks in between. I mean, they're banging these series out. There's more content. If you look at the hours in which each episode, I mean, episode 1 ran, 52 minutes? Mm-hmm. I mean, the first 2 episodes covers a movie. So We're getting way more content. The production is way less. So the cost of these series is costing way less than a movie would. I mean, and what it seems like, this is the way to go. I mean, we're getting way more content. It's more engaging. And that's the thing I found, and I'm sure you guys have found. For this 50 minutes, I've been more engaged in this series than I have any Star Wars movie. For 50 minutes, it leaves me tasting for that next episode, you know? So it really grabs you so much, and that's the thing I really like about this. So I don't know if it's the casting. I really, in my eyes, believe it's the Feige coming on board, and even, you know, Favreau and those guys, what they've done, and the producers. So, yeah, I like this, the format. I hope it stays, you know, the way it is.
Yeah, and, you know, I just want to give a shout-out here to what, you know, I talk about how this is Western all the time. It's like, you know, if I had a catchphrase on this show, it'd be, it's a Western, like that. But I, you know, my dad is into this show, right? Like, my dad watches The Mandalorian, and he is not, you know, a super sci-fi guy, right? Like, it's just not, you know, his wheelhouse is not this sort of stuff. So it's a real testament to the broadness of the appeal. And I think, you know, what we're realizing here is that at a certain point, Disney has enough money to make whatever the heck they want to show up on the screen. And to see them sort of take the time to invest in the new production cycle that this is going to do, with the volume and the sort of way that's going to open up the ability to showcase these fantastical shows, things like Dune and this and other series, at a lower price point. And that is going to open up storytelling possibilities that simply weren't there before. And in my opinion, what Disney needs to do, from a, you know, if you want to talk about my philosophy of art, which we don't want to do that because that is very boring, but Disney needs to be pushing these things. They need to be spending money on the proven commodities, because what you need for a thing like Star Wars or Sherlock Holmes, or, you know, those sorts of monolithic, iconic, you know, literary figures, these literary genres, is you need something that can be a steward, that has the money to produce its own product and also sweep the floor of the other stuff that's substandard. We're almost at a point where we're into the third generation of Star Wars here, with 3 trilogies. We're rolling into the 4th, and at a certain point, when is this just a piece of world culture, and when is it not something that can be owned? You know what I mean? It's interesting to think about weird stuff like that, but not on this show. So we're gonna stop. Let's talk about the Crate Dragon. The Crate Dragon rules. And
oh yeah, that was awesome. I mean, that had me at the edge of my feet and everything. I mean, I'm like, will they defeat this thing? What is going to happen? I love the way he, you know, the creature was just under the sand. I haven't seen anything like that, and I'm into a lot of sci-fi, but just to see something like that just crawl under the sand and just sort of the sand is sort of like water in a way, you know. It was like an ocean, like with different like fish coming and everything. So the creature is under the sand, just rolling through like a little small city, and it's making everyone afraid. And it was just like, what is this thing? You know, and how are they going to defeat that thing, because it's just terrorizing.
Yeah. Trent, what do you think about the audacity to put a Crate Dragon in the first episode of season 2? How does that strike you, as far as like what you expect? Like, is your mind blown just by the spectacle of this thing?
It really was. I mean, going into the first episode, I was kind of like on edge. I'm like, are they going to start out like a marathon, or is it going to be a sprint? And I was like, it's probably going to be a sprint. They're going to hit it with a bunch of stuff and slow it down. But I mean, once again, the pacing of the show, like, I was on edge from the start, and then the callbacks come. You see the dragon and just these Easter eggs. You know, the first thing I thought of was the original trilogy, and I feel like they're doing a great job of, like you're saying, gathering the first generation fans, those second generations from the prequel, and even trying to throw in some later stuff, and even though that third trilogy, and it just keeps grabbing me each time. I can't. I'm excited for the next episode. I can't wait till Friday at 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, awesome. I love the way the Mandos just fly about too, you know,
right.
And, with the rockets and stuff, man. I love seeing them fly, because at first Mando wasn't really flying last season, until we actually saw the other Mandalorians, and then he got his rocket ship on the thing at the end there. So I like that.
Ken, what did you think about the Crate Dragon? What did you think about this whole idea that a Crate Dragon is coming to our village and is going to eat all wampas, or whatever. What are they? But what are they? Banthas, right? Banthas.
Banthas,
Banthas.
So yeah, like Trenton said, this pulled everything back from the original film because what did Obi-Wan Kenobi? How did he scare away the Tusken Raiders?
Yep.
With the call of the Krayt Dragon, and
that's one.
Then
what else you got? Just list them. What other? Because what else did the Sand people do that Obi-Wan Kenobi said they do? They ran in single file to hide their numbers. Was the other thing that I was just like, look at this attention to detail.
They're doing it.
That's your boy Dave Filoni.
and just mentioning the Tusken Raiders. I mean, how cool was that to see them communicating? And then Mando's just in there like, I mean, he's talking to them, and man, so I really liked the Krayt Dragon. Plus, that was the thing that formed the relationship between him and Cobb, right? So now they're going to be the new group. Like, I don't know if they're going to bring Kara back. I guess I've seen some snippets where she's there, but here's the new Fab Four, right? So you got Mando, you got the Marshal, you got Kara, and the child.
The child. Yeah.
So now we need some stupid droid in there somewhere.
Just some funny droid to lighten everything up. And
right, just some dumb little astromech droid that they can like kick around and like solve the problem. R5, how about that? Throw him in there.
Make it go now, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. This is a great show, and how you can tell it's a great show is that we're doing this discussion about, the most culturally relevant Star Wars media that there is, and we haven't even really discussed anything that's going on with the most culturally relevant character in the Star Wars media, which of course is the child, and that's baby Yoda, or the child, as I think Disney has sort of won this round in the nameology. Right? We sort of have given in. So the child is, it's mostly just a silent observer here, and an observer of hunting, an observer of death, and we do get one really great gag where it hits his own lockup button at the beginning. Other than that, a pretty quiet week for the child, although you'd imagine a Force sensitive probably not super happy with all the death. I do want to call one thing out, and this is one of my favorite things about Star Wars, is that you can have all this incredible photorealistic stuff in this Krayt Dragon that's terrifying and looks like it's out of, it could be out of Dune, or it could be out of Lord of the Rings, or any of these things. And the Banthas still basically look like you took an elephant and like glued the face of Sweetums from the Muppets onto it, and they never really fixed it. They just said, this is what it looked like, and that to me is the sort of 1977, 1978 ethos at play, right? Because when you look at those old making of documentaries, when they were putting stuff together, they were, what do they say? They cannibalized 1 million Battleship board games or whatever to make the Death Star. So Star Wars has always sort of been this cutting edge, lived in world, and they're populating it with characters who are interesting, and they're giving depth to things that happened in other media in ways that is so good. And they're not forcing it like they did with the Dyson Solo or whatever.
Well, what I think was happening here, I think the because I think Dave Filoni, he's along with the animated shows a lot, right? He's like an executive on there. Mm-hmm. So you got a really dedicated person that's really, he was like a stooge under George Lucas.
You mean a student, right?
And,
you mean a student?
Yeah, you stooge.
Because you said stooge, and that's awesome.
I did say stooge, did I? He was a student under George Lucas, and he really understands the material. Yeah. Jon Favreau does too, but Filoni, I mean, he really understands, and he loves, connecting the dots, with that. He was able to do a lot of stuff in animation that you obviously can't do in like the movies and everything. So for them to be handed this project with The Mandalorian, they're able to expand this world out so much in a live action form that it's sort of like, just a kid in a candy store to them. Animation in its best forms can only do so much because it's only so many people that's going to respect the animation, and it's mainly the Star Wars, hard heads and everything, the straight up nerds that are into Star Wars. But the Mandalorian just expands, like you was talking about, Hitch. You were talking about your you said your granddad.
Well, my granddad did. Probably would have liked
Yeah.
it. He was a big Western guy, but my dad told me that he watched, because he asked me. He said, "Do you still do a podcast?" And I said, "Sometimes." So he gets a link now when we do these. It's a fun time. Before we wrap up here, and there's we're kind of, we don't like to go too long on these shows just because we're trying to keep it fun and for the kids for the most part. I want to ask this question, and this is a little, I'll ask each of you guys this in turn, and we'll start with you, Ken. Who are you the most interested in seeing? Like, who are you the most excited to see of the season 1 characters that we haven't seen yet? Like, are you thinking like Kara or like Grief?
Yeah, Kara. I want to see her back because I felt like there was there was going to be something going on between her and Mando, maybe. But I mean, legit, they're the fighters, and they're the ones that are going to bring out the action. And if anything's be happening big, it's going to be brought on by those two. So yeah, from season 1, Kara would be the biggest one that I'd like to see, back, and what is she going to do? How is she going to develop the story? How is she going to help Mando get the child back to its people? Because that's going to be the whole thrust of this season. So Kara would be my pick. Yes.
And Trent, you're new on the show, so we'll ask you this: what are you the most excited to see as far as what you've heard about do you know anything as far as like what's going to come up, or can you give us any inkling as far as what we haven't seen on The Mandalorian that we can expect that you're excited to hear, like to see, or anything like that?
Yeah, so moving forward, the thing that I'm looking forward to see is as he travels to these planets, once again, we're going to get so many callbacks, but also the thing that these showrunners are doing is they're tying in characters from different avenues. So whether you're a young child or a younger person, you watch Rebels, I believe there'll be some tie-ins there. I've heard, and we've all heard the inklings of Ahsoka Tano and Rosario Dawson being her. I don't have confirmed that she's in this season, but I know that she will be a character, and that's a hot button. I know in the trailer, everybody's seen the person in the back, whether they're saying that's Sabine or whoever that is. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they tie these in. And I'll say one thing about these guys. They're a lot better than Marvel as far as what they let out. I mean, I had no clue that Boba was going to be in this, let alone in the first episode.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
The fact that somebody has leaked out that Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka Tano and they've announced it, I don't think that's a coincidence. I think they let that out for a reason, and I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see Ahsoka in this season. I really wouldn't be shocked if we don't see her, because for them to let that out the bag, it leads you into something else, maybe a spin-off series, or even, they're already leaking season 3 promos, so it looks like we have another one coming up. So.
We got like 7 episodes of these left.
Exactly.
They're doing season 3 stuff.
Could you imagine if someone put out like Return of the Jedi posters before like the episode 5 came out? You'd be like, this is very confusing, and I don't like any of it. I don't like any of this information I'm getting.
Exactly.
DP, we've been doing these shows for a minute, and this is our second go around with The Mandalorian, which I know we're all excited for here. What are you the most excited to see happen here on this show? I know, like, what did you think? Well, let me ask you this. What did you think about the idea that Boba Fett's just kind of getting thrown into the mix here as an extra factor at the end of the episode? What is that? What do you think's going to go on there? Or what are you excited to see about there?
That was him at the end of the episode?
Oh, yes. Well, we shouldn't be that specific, right? Because it could be Boba Fett or any of the billion or so clones of
Okay. Because that was going to be the next question. Okay, who was that at the end with the bald head and everything? So hold on. Okay, so you guys are really confusing me. So I'm not the I'm catching up on my Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
lore and everything. Who was that at the end?
So the idea here is we don't know for sure, but the last time Boba Fett was spotted was on Tatooine, and that looks like suspiciously familiar armor, in my opinion. So I think they're leading us in a certain direction. That's my guess anyway.
That actor, that's Tamara Morrison,
Yes.
who was Jango Fett.
Yeah, that's him. So it's either Boba or one of the clone troopers or something like that.
Right.
Gotcha.
So Boba Fett would look like Jango Fett,
Exactly.
father and son.
And he wouldn't have died in 3 years, so
Yeah.
it would have lasted. I'm going to use.
That's a crazy awesome callback. Right
It's
there.
wild, isn't it? It's so dense, like Trent was saying. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm going to use my time here to do something a little different than what everyone else did because I made them do other stuff. I'm going to use my time to beg for something, and that is Disney, please make an X-Wing series and use this technology that you've created for Mandalorian to make it. I don't care what it costs. And look, I've given you a lot of money, and between you and me, Disney, it's going to be a lot more. So please, make more stuff like this. Spin it off. Show me Rogue Squadron. Show me Ray Squadron. And I will continue to show you the money. And look, this is not a threat. I'll do it anyway. So let's not don't get messed up. All right. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with the child, to see if maybe, over the next 50 years or so as we move forward in Star Wars, if it, achieves, adulthood, and we can see it turn into a Padawan for 2 centuries or so.
And that's the thing about this show too, because it doesn't have to really all be about the child. That's just his mission right there.
I know, right?
It's just so much, to explore and everything. Even if he delivers a child and, he has to go about his way, it's still so much other stuff to mine and everything. The child is just like an inroads to get like everybody into it. But, it's really all about what Mando's up to and what he's doing and who he encounters and, all the fun people we see along, on this ride and everything. So this is like, Trenton, Ken, and, you guys say this is HITCH. Such a fun show. This is such a great, even if you're not the biggest Star Wars fan, you know what I'm saying? This is something that you can actually get into and appreciate.
It's a real great entry point. And, if you've decided to use this as an entry point for Nerdcyclopedia, you should feel free to check us out at our website, nerdcyclopedia.com, or just click subscribe up above here on YouTube. That's free. Don't cost you nothing to do that. Before we go, we just want to welcome you back next week for Chapter 10. We'll be here again, probably Saturday night, doing the live broadcast. Dropping the podcast in your inbox Sunday, so you'll have it for the water cooler discussion that I guess we're having in 2020. Final thoughts. Anybody else got anything else they want to say? Anything else they want to promote? Anything like that?
I'll drop one more tidbit if you don't guys mind.
Ahead,
and the interesting thing a lot of people aren't catching is, remember, at this time frame, there is only one confirmed Force user in Jedi, and that's Luke Skywalker, based on the time frame we're at. So the interesting part is the fact that they're trying to reunite him with his people. Maybe we'll see some other Jedi that we have not heard about, or some other even Force sensitive. So that's the thing that kind of tinkles my eye a little bit, is who actually is left after the final battle, and who survived other than Luke, because as of now he's the only Jedi left.
That's right, and we know that Luke is going to have an academy, and we know that Ben is going to murder everybody there. It's almost going to be terrifying to see who goes goes to the academy, wherever they have that. Guys, this has been Carbonite Bounty BS, the show where we talk about the Mandalorian. For the rest of the nerds, I'm Hitch, and remember, listening to the podcast and clicking subscribe. This is the way.
This is the way.
All right, we'll see you guys soon.
We have spoken.